Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Mike Pinson. I'm a local realtor, and in today's video, we're gonna be talking about the pros and cons of living in Cochrane. If you're new to the channel, I make videos about what it's like to live, work, eat, sleep, and play in Cochrane, Calgary, and the surrounding area. So if you want to learn more, make sure you subscribe. And if you're thinking about making a move to Cochrane for all of your real estate needs, reach out to me. All of my contact information is in the description below. With that said, let's talk about the pros first, and then we'll talk about the cons. The first pro of living in Cochrane is that it's quieter than Calgary. With a population of 35,000 people, it's obviously significantly smaller than Calgary, and this is a big reason why we get people that are moving to a place like Cochrane or some of the other surrounding communities. People just want to get away from the busyness and hustle and bustle of a big city like Calgary. Pro number two is Cochrane is closer to the mountains. If you enjoy spending time in the mountains, if you enjoy spending time outside, when you live in Cochrane, you're only a short drive away from the Rocky Mountains. Pro number three, Cochrane has all the amenities you need. You do not need to go back and forth to Calgary to get the things that you need to live. Cochrane has everything from grocery stores, coffee shops, restaurants, pubs, small businesses, a movie theater. Basically anything you can think of that you'll need, you can get right here in Cochrane. You'll only really ever need to go to Calgary if you absolutely wanted to. Pro number four, living in a smaller town like Cochrane typically allows you to build better connections with the people in your community. When you live in a big city like Calgary, it's hard to do because obviously Calgary is so spread out. There's so many people living there, and you just don't seem to build the same kind of connections and community like you do in a town like Cochrane. I can relate with this as I grew up in a smaller town, and there's definitely just a certain charm to it that you do not get living in a bigger city. And pro number five, Cochrane is more affordable than Calgary. The average price for a home in Cochrane is around $485,000, where the average price for a home in Calgary is about $555,000. So this is another big reason why we see a lot of people choosing smaller communities around a big city, because they do typically tend to be more affordable. So if you're somebody that's looking for a better bang for your buck or more house for your money, you would certainly want to consider a place like Cochrane. All right, let's talk about the cons. The first and biggest con of living in Cochrane is the commute. The majority of people living there will be driving to Calgary for work, and if you're driving during rush hour times, you can expect that it's going to take anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes each way. And on top of that, you're also driving towards the sun both ways. So not only do you have to deal with traffic, you also have to deal with the sun in your eyes, which can be obviously super annoying. And then outside of that, the other thing to consider as well is the costs that you will incur. You're spending so much time on the road, it's going to be more expensive for things like gas and potential car maintenance as well. So if you are thinking of moving to Cochrane, this would definitely be the thing that you want to really figure out if you are especially going to be working in Calgary, because this can definitely take its toll on you. Now, there are obviously a lot of people doing it already, and there's a lot of people that will have no issues with it, but there are also other people who have moved to Cochrane and moved out after only a short time of being there because of this commute. Con number two of living in Cochrane is the lack of big city attractions. When you live in Calgary, you get things like the Calgary Flames NHL team, Calgary Stampeders CFL team. You get a bunch of concerts and events throughout the year, obviously the Calgary Stampede, and you're just not going to get these same kind of attractions in Cochrane. Now, of course, you can always drive to Calgary to check some of these things out, but that goes back to having to make that drive every time. And if you go and do something and you end up having a couple drinks while you're there, well, now you have to look at getting either an Uber or a taxi ride home, which can be quite expensive. Con number 3 is the effect on your social life. This is for people who are currently living in Calgary, but thinking about moving to Cochrane. If all of your friends are living in Calgary and you end up moving to Cochrane, it's to be expected that you will not see them as often anymore. They're not gonna wanna have to drive all the way out to Cochrane all the time, just like you're not gonna wanna have to drive into the city all the time. So if you are thinking of making this move, make sure you consider that and factor that in. And even though you're not gonna see those friends as often, you still will be able to meet and build new relationships with people in Cochrane instead. Con number 4 is there are less jobs in Cochrane compared to Calgary. The majority of people that are living in Cochrane will end up working in Calgary. That's just the way it goes. Bigger cities tend to have more opportunities for jobs. So there you have it, guys. Those are the pros and cons of living in Cochrane. If you are considering making the move, I definitely think Cochrane is a beautiful town with a lot to offer. And if you're okay with the cons that I mentioned, I think it could be a great place to call home. But if you are thinking of making a move, I am a realtor and I'd be more than happy to help you with your real estate needs. So feel free to reach out. All of my contact information is in the description below. And also, I'm curious to know what kind of content or videos you guys would like to see me make. I'm all about being a resource and I want this channel to be as valuable to you as possible. So I've got a lot of stuff coming up for this year, but if there's anything in particular that you would like to see, drop a comment below and I will begin to make a list and start knocking out some of those videos as well. See you guys on the next one.